It's that time of year where it's ice cold outside, but the deals are on fire. Today we are back in Valencia checking out a brand new plan that we have never seen before, as well as some of the amazing inventory deals that you can have this time of year. We'll talk about whether or not you should pull the trigger now or wait till the top of the year to do something. That sounds good. Stay tuned. First things first. Man, this wind is cutting. God damn. But nothing can distract from how beautiful this castle that we are rolling into right now. And this is Coventry Homes. This is their Revena plan. And I have never seen it before. So we are going to see and experience this thing together.
Entry door.
It's on a 70-foot lot. So I'm interested to see, this is already interesting, how they have this foyer set up. I'm interested to see how this one plays out, but giving you a sense of scale, that was your little courtyard that we just walked through. We got this beautiful rotunda off the front door. All right, unique, but let's get into it. So this is gonna be a big one. It's on a 70-foot. This one's gonna be over 4,000 square feet. And Coventry is really swinging for the fences out here in this Manville area. They started out going real hard in the Pomona area just north of here. And then once I saw that they would also get some fairly big lots over here, I was excited to see it because Pomona has some of the prettiest Coventry plans that I've ever seen. And this one is shaping up to be one of them ones now. Hold on. I'll give you all the stats. Again, we are in Valencia, right around the corner from my neighborhood of Meridiana. If you wanted you a big old Coventry and Meridiana, you couldn't do it. So you'd be forced to look in either Valencia or Pomona. And today we are highlighting Valencia. It's a little bit of a smaller community, right around 500 acres compared to Meridiana, that's about 3,500 acres, a little over 3,000, somewhere between 3,000 and 3,500. So kind of a night and day difference in terms of scale. But they got some of you guys' favorite builders on the channel building really big houses, all right? And so I want to show it to you because that's what y'all like. Y'all love you a big house. All right, so there was something that was tucked off back here. I want to make sure that I don't miss it. So we got an office tucked off in the back, and I like it. I love when that office just isn't the first thing you see to your left or your right when you come into a house. I just love when that is changed up. I've been blessed and fortunate enough to work with so many of y'all that like so many of my favorite builders. And one of the things that happens as someone that loves new construction homes and focuses on that is that you start to see that a lot of the builders have damn near the same exact plans, just depending on what your budget is in the neighborhood that you want to be in. And so it is always cool to see one that is unique, that kind of steps outside of the norm. And when I pulled up to this and saw that this one had a courtyard, I was like, yeah. We gotta get in. We gotta get in there. We gotta get in there for sure. Good size, but again, I'm expecting this on a 70-foot wide product, meaning that the houses should be somewhere between 55 and 60-ish foot wide, depending on the plan. And so I'm expecting nice size bathrooms, nice size closets pretty much everywhere. I shouldn't really need to settle in a footprint that is this big. remodel. It's nice. It's really, really nice. Excuse the zebras. Always happens with that natural light hitting with that indoor light being on. Sorry about that. But yeah, good sized closets, no galley closet so far. Nice little nursery or a little in-law suite. Everybody has their own bathroom so far. I'm a fan. Y'all know, those of y'all that have been here long enough, y'all know I love me a space where everybody has their own bathroom. I can't stand. I can't stand a house being this big and sharing a bathroom. But we'll see if they hold true upstairs. But yeah, beautiful. The way that this little atrium courtyard kind of vibe frames up, it makes for some beautiful architecture of what you do off of this corridor. So if that has a wing, I'm going to assume that that has a wing. So let's go and check it out before we head upstairs. Okay, so this would be your garage normally. And we got laundry. Okay, cool. Something crazy. We got a little bit of Harry Potter. Yeah, a little bit of a baby Harry Potter. Okay. All right. Man, that's beautiful. Just how that frames up in there. Oof. And looking at the structure of what this is doing, that's gonna make me believe that there should be a movie room or something right there. So we'll see if I am right about that. Before we go into the primary, let's go and check out this back patio, because another thing that I have found myself just absolutely loving about Coventry Homes over the last few years is they do this thing where their backs, especially on two-story backs, does this frame-in thing that gives you very just like thoughtful walls to put things on. And it just frames you in to give you that sense of privacy. And they're also one of the builders that does the most two-story back patios. So I've been a simp for their bigger plans for a long time, because they've done this grand thing that you usually get on the bigger like Toll Brothers or big Newmarks or really big Highland homes. They've been doing this for a good little bit. And this is also a good example of what you can do on a not so oversized yard. So this is actually laid out perfectly to where your pool would be. So would it be the most gigantic? You could get a pretty nice sized pool in here, about this width, and you could go to probably about there for your building line of your house, and you could probably go to the end over there for the building line of this house. So you could get a really nice sized pool, and this is not an oversized yard. The benefit of going two-story is that house foundation usually shrinks in just a little bit to give you more yard space to do outdoor kitchens and pools and things that you want to do for a grand house, versus all of this being on a big one-story. You would basically eat up most of this yard because the foundation is going this way to make room for all the space, right? But yeah, tons of room for activities. All right. Gotta have the sliders on something this big. It would be a crime not to. Let's get back in this warmth, y'all. All right. I just love the angles of this. This is beautiful. Framed entry into the primary. I love the angles of this bedroom ceiling detail. It's gorgeous. They've been doing the bay window with the vault for a while as well. They've kind of been doing that for years now that I can see. And I'm a fan. It looks really nice. Huge room. So you got these tons of decor in here, full size, nice king bed. Frames up really nice. Bed doesn't clip into the window, so I'm a fan of that. I'm shocked from a symmetry standpoint that they didn't put a window there. That does shock me a little bit, but really nice. Well, this is a spa. Let me just try to get y'all a better angle where you're not getting them zebras. They didn't wrap this whole thing with towel. They said we ain't playing around. We know a towel guy. We gonna wrap the whole thing around. We're gonna wrap the whole thing in towel. They just showing off. Okay, Coventry. You better come on through now. So you could do this. This would cost you a lot of money, but you could do it. Multiple shower heads. I'm sure you can also do rainforest shower if you just need that. This would be glassed, but just kind of showing you what the space looks like. Private bath. And then this would be your closet. Pretty good size. Pretty good size. You did this all up. You had the closet system tied to laundry. Be perfect. If me and the missus move, we gotta get something that's tied to laundry because I feel like we be in that house running through laundry. Currently she has to get her little basket and pull it around to the laundry room, and I know she hates that. We're literally washing something every day. In terms of, as I'm just kind of walking around, it looks like they, right now on a build, Coventry has 50% off of all options, structural and design center. So, for a house that's this big, that you would probably spend close to $100 if you're just trying to make it look pretty like this is, to be able to get that for half price is a pretty solid deal. Another thing that Coventry has been great at over the last couple years as interest rates and things have kind of spiraled is that they've been one of the people in the forefront for doing forward commitments in the Houston metro. So if the interest rate is 6-7%, they've been prepaying your interest rate down on inventory homes to get you down to a 3 or a 4, just to make it a little bit more appealing and kind of get you back to those COVID days where I don't think we'll ever get back there. But there are some builders out here, and Coventry is one of them, that can get you down to a much lower rate. Okay, but yeah, beautiful so far. We got a courtyard. We got 3 beds down. We got a secret office. Let's see what the second story has to offer. Beautiful. Got the rotunda. I love just the curvature of this. Kelly down there working. Try not to be a hater, but this is the peekaboo. Try to get out of her way, let her do her thing. And I was right, people. So we got the game room / movie room area. And I go back and forth on this. Let me know what y'all think. So whenever, there we go, catch me. So whenever I see these kind of models, these big models from Coventry, they always show them with the media room, game room kind of wide open like this. So it's open concept. And every time I see it, I'm like, that could be kind of cool. But then I'm just like, that's with our current dynamic where our kid wants to be with us and wants to watch TV and movies and stuff with us. But in the event that she gets older and has friends and stuff over, that would probably be a nightmare. Right? So let me know what y'all think in the comments. Would you want it open like this, where you're a little bit of movie, a little bit of game room? Or would you want this to be divided up and kind of close this off and make this like a true darked out movie space? Which would you prefer? But either way you got it, this is a truly beautiful space. Really nice size. For those of y'all that have been following me for a while, y'all know I'm kind of an attic junkie now. So let me see if they got it locked. They hating on me. They hating on me. So we don't know if you got room to do anything else or add another bedroom. We don't know. Okay. Cool. All right. Heading on down this last little corridor. We got another bedroom. Okay. It's really nice. Good size. Cute. One of the things I'm noticing in here as well, nice baseboard, nice trim, nice doors, nice hardware. You know, depending on the market, inventory is going to be dialed up depending on the market. The more competition that they have, the more dialed up stuff will be. That's pretty much the standard around the metro. When you're kind of doing a solo thing and you're in a smaller community, stuff is usually a little bit more pared down because they're not competing with people, right? So this is at a price point that it is what I would consider a luxury price point for the Houston metro, especially on this side of town. And so I have seen some inventory that were just like crazy good over here, and then I've seen some inventory where it was just like, oof, got carpet in weird places. So it's gonna be hit or miss on an inventory, but the deal is always gonna be inventory. And if you like this layout and this layout is just available and you think it's ugly from a cosmetic standpoint, I got a guy. Hit me with a text and say, hey, where's your guy Julio? I'll send you Julio's info. He'll take care of you, okay? So this is the other side of that Jack and Jill. So they do have a Jack and Jill for this little wing back here, which is not bad because this kind of just looks like a little guest quarter. So I understand a little bit. I'll give this one a pass. I'll give this one a pass. And this is the other side of it. Cute little closet. Yeah, so this is the first option, Revena. We'll go downstairs, talk about just general pricing of it, give y'all an update of availability, stuff that's similar size that's coming up soon, different deals that they have off right now. And yeah, Coventry coming through on that first stop, man. Coming through on that first stop with the good vibes. Love me a big pretty Coventry. They do so many things so well, and they're usually at a great price per square foot compared to some of you guys' other favorite builders on the channel. They're usually at a lower price per square foot, so you can get a little bit more bang for your buck with Coventry, even on bills. So when you kind of factor in the incentives that they give towards structural stuff or the inventory, interest rates, and closing cost assistance that they typically give, they're usually tough to beat, okay? So y'all head down. They're actually talking to some clients right now, so I'll probably cut that and then come back to y'all when we get outside. All right, so that was the Revena plan. Super gorgeous. I did grab the details for y'all on that one. So Revena plan has a 5-bed, 4.5 bath, 3-car garage, normally 4,300 square feet. Base price $729, $990, right? So right at $730. So putting that into perspective, if I compare that to even Meridiana with some of the best pricing, you're still gonna pay about that for about 300 less square feet. But that's super dialed up. So like comparing that to a 222, 223, 222, or 220, 224, some of you guys' favorite Highland plans that go up to around 4,000 to 4,100 square feet in Meridiana, you'd be about 750 on a kind of dolled up one, okay? Comparing that to the base price of like 730 here. You're gonna spend a lot more than 30K to get something like this, okay? So alluding to what I was telling y'all before, this is at a more luxury price point because you are that much closer to Pearland, and you're like, instead of being 10 minutes away from the Manville Town Center, you're like 3 minutes away, okay? So you're paying a premium just for the location, not necessarily the amenities or the size or any of that stuff. You're paying for location here, and the land costs more. All right, so they do have some stuff that is as small as 3,000 square feet, and they go up to, that actually isn't even the biggest one. They have one, the DeMitt plan, that goes up to nearly 4,600 square feet. In terms of deals that they have right now, I see stuff on here that is 82,000 off, 120, 113, 85, 145, right? They got stuff that is literally 145,000 off right now, right? And that's not because they super priced it, right? And that they did too much. That's what it would cost to build it. So they know that they have the comps. They know that they have opportunities in the neighborhood to make that amount. But this is what I meant when I said this is the time. These are the time when these deals are on fire and not ice cold, because they're trying to get up off of these for the next year, right? So as I pan around, you see a bunch of green space, right? And these builders have a delicate balance where they have 3 model homes here actually. So they have 6 people that they need to feed and take care of. And so if they can't get a ground up build, some of these that you see behind you are customized ground up builds. Those are the people that spend the most on these houses. They try to emulate those with inventory that come up at those price points. However, because someone that can afford a $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 home didn't pick every detail of that home, they usually have to come down in price because someone that can afford that home has options and they know that they can afford whatever they want, okay? So that is the psychology of some of these builders. The secondary part of that is the reason why you'll see inventory go out there and then reduce in price. They have to feed their salespeople. So if they can't get signed contracts for people basically building at full price, they need to put something on the ground so their team can make money here and make sales, all right? That's where the inventory comes in. So just a thought, somebody comes in, builds this model, goes all out, they now have a comp in the neighborhood at 900,000. Let's just say that as an example. They put an inventory out at 850. It sits for months because a person that could afford that was like, I didn't pick this shit. I don't like this tile. I think green cabinets are ugly. I want it black, right? And so they have to reduce that price to get it down to where more people can either reach up to accomplish that buy, or it makes it so much of a deal that a person that could actually afford to build it looks at it and says, you know, that's so discounted that I'll call Aaron's Julio afterwards and I'll change this shit out to stuff that I actually like, okay? So that's the psychology behind why inventory is always gonna be the best bet. It's because they're using a high comp. A person that could actually afford to build that doesn't like the selections that they've made and it's not to their personal eye. So they have to bring it down to where more of the masses can actually afford it and make it a viable option, okay? But we got more to see. We're gonna go and check out some of the other builders here and see what kind of deals they got, talk about their incentive structure, everything we got going on. So stick with me. Up next, we got a 70-foot Perry option, 35-25 plan, so it's gonna be around 25 square feet. And this one is a whopping 140K off. And we got some room. So if you tell me, Aaron, I like this plan, I'll give my girl Ty and we'll make it happen for you. So we'll kind of go over this one. I'll point out some of the things that are upgrades as we walk through it to kind of justify their original pricing. They were in the 800s when this one first hit the market, and now we're hovering in the mid sixes, okay? Beautiful. But yeah, let's get into it. So some of the things that I noticed, we got dark frame windows, we got dark hardware. The 8-foot doors is actually a standard for them, so don't get catfished by that. That's one of the pros of going with Perry over others, because that is definitely an ad for some of y'all's favorite builders like Highland. That's definitely an ad. It changes the whole framing structure of the house to go to an 8-foot door versus a standard door. So you're paying for more lumber, more frame, and all that stuff. So it's more expensive. Upgraded tiles, upgraded faucet fixtures. All right. So they're doing a more modern approach because they got some competition in here and they can't really just phone it, okay? Looks like we got a half bath in here. Little storage / data closet. But yeah, compared to some of the other builders, however, I have people that kind of go either way on it. Some people will look at this and be like, man, this is just so like plain compared to some of the other builders or the model home that we just left. And I believe that's purposeful. And at least the way it was explained to me is it's on purpose, because the builder, Perry Homes, doesn't want you to walk inside of their model, fall in love with it, how it is, and then be told that you have to spend an extra $100,000 to $200,000 to make your house look exactly like that when the base plan is affordable, right? So a lot of their inventory and a lot of their models feature a ton of just like standard stuff. So you can be like, hey, I like that model. If you're building an inventory, I want it, and you know it's gonna look remotely close to what the model home looks like. So I've had people that'll come in and tour a great inventory deal, or they'll come and tour a model home from Perry, and they'll be like, oh, it's kind of plain. And that's on purpose, because they want the people that come in and just love how a layout is. They want them to be able to roll into it and not have to spend an arm and a leg. So like these wood look tiles, even though for those of y'all that have been following me a while, the missus hates the wood look tiles. She can't stand them. A lot of people like these, and this would be an upgraded tile for a lot of builders. This is a standard tile for them, okay? Some of these things like the baseboards at the height that they are, that's standard stuff for them. So it's some stuff that you just get with going Perry. And then one of the things you just can't replicate with them is the width of corridors, especially on a 1-story. People ain't messing with them on a 1-story, just being honest. How things are framed, it just gives very clean line, very elevated, very elegant, super wide. Stuff just feels more grand. They are definitely the best production 1-story, large 1-story builders, in my opinion. They are the best in Houston with that. And they, at this point, likely have thousands of plans that they've been building since their inception that they have adapted to make it a little bit more modern, kind of fitting the times with what people like and depending on what that neighborhood is kind of going for. And so you'll have some that are a little bit more closed off, that are a little bit more old school. You'll have some that are a little bit more open concept to kind of go with the new vibe of what most people kind of like these days. And you'll have everything in between. So it just depends on your style. Or for example, for people that would say, I want a formal, they got a plan where you can get a more formal dining kind of setup, right? Well, that's really kind of unheard of on certain widths of homes these days, just because most people don't use a formal dining anymore. They're one of the builders that will give you an option where you could have this closed in and have a formal dining. Now, my personal eye, that takes away from the grandness of this space, so I wouldn't want to close it up, but I know and have buyers that absolutely are just like, ugh, I hate how I can see my table from the kitchen. Just old school, not used to it, okay? So they're definitely one of those builders that just gives you a wide variety. So on this one, we have an office, 2 beds that we've seen. This looks like your flex / media space. So one of the things that you give up oftentimes when you come to, sorry about the zebras, y'all, when you come to a big 1-story is that flex space. So on a 2-story, you'll get sometimes a movie room as well as that loft game room area overflow. You kind of give that up once you go big 1-story with Perry, right? There's a couple plans that'll give it to you, but now you're at a price point that I don't know if you really want to be at and not be custom. So it's something to keep in mind that they will have the option for you, but it looks like on this one, you had to kind of pick, and you got a formal dining flex area or this little formal dining flex space in that game room or movie room. So you can capture it back if you got rid of this space, but otherwise you wouldn't have it. And then you would have to free float your table there, which some may love, some may hate, right? The decisions. And they have upgraded their kitchen. So they've wrapped cabinetry around. You got this hutch. We got the upgraded range hood. I like actually how they do this. It's not quite a slide in. Sometimes people will be like, I know you didn't put a slide in. They didn't. They use that cabinet space instead of making that dead cabinets right there. They put your oven right there and your cooktop on top. And then you got another oven over here, which I love. I love the choices that they made in here. This is a good combo. A little white with a white oak. Hard to go wrong with that combo, y'all. A little white with white oak. And for people that say they want a ton of cabinets and storage and a nice kitchen, Perry, in my opinion, on a 1-story like this that is open concept, gives some of the most storage space and most prep space. And it's just one of the nicest kitchens going into something that is interesting that you can get. Now, another thing that I'll notice, or you'll notice from just looking at these inventories and even the model homes on Perry, is they don't like, it's either they got a bad contractor with, they get bad pricing with sliders. It is very rare for them to have sliders. And I don't know what that's about. They're one of the only builders that don't spend the extra money on sliders, even at this price point. And even on their models, they don't go super crazy on their models and put them in there. But again, I think that's based on the principle of what we mentioned before, wanting somebody to come in and love a plan, and then you don't want to tell them, oh yeah, by the way, that slider is $15,000 extra. You got to make a choice between that slider and the brick that you want, or that slider and whatever, okay? So we got a good size laundry room in here. It looks like you actually have enough room to do like a little fridge or a little deep freezer, which I know a lot of my people coming from other places that wanted to do. We have a 3-car tandem. You down south, so you got the windstorm boards. They are not one of the builders that do spray foam insulation. So it's gonna be standard kind of blown in insulation in the attic. So when that summertime comes, I ain't trying to be in that attic. It's gonna be hot. it's gonna be hot. All right, looks like we have another little guest bed back here, which is an interesting little layout, and I actually like what this does. Everybody seems to have their own bathroom. As discussed before, y'all know I'm a fan of that. If you've been following the channel, I love when everybody has their own stuff. This is a cute little closet, cute little bathroom. One of those, come over and stay for a little bit, but go ahead and, you ain't trying to be here long term now. Go ahead and get up out of here. And we go to the back patio. One of the perks of Perry Homes is that they have on all of their plans some of the biggest back patios as standards. So this is going to be a standard patio for them on this plan. Nothing added here. And although this one is a 3,600 square foot home on a 70-foot section, this is a little bit more of an oversized lot. So you can see that if you wanted to go bigger, you could, and you would have a ton of room to build basically from that tree line right there to your current slab is room that you would be able to put something, a structure in. And so that's a pool, outdoor kitchen, pergola extension, you name it, you can have it. They got you set up for your gas on this wall, got you set up for a TV on this wall. So they got you with the true outdoor living. They did the epoxy upgrade out here, just making this back patio look much better. Otherwise it looks all cracked and beat up. I love how that frames out and carries that detail out through to the patio, just kind of bringing that outdoor in. Super pretty. One more time in the kitchen for the vibes. And this is your view. Chefing it up. Got the fireplace. They're one of those builders along with Weston that's going to give you a functional fireplace that you can either have an insert in, gas, or put real wood in there if you want to take that insert out. Interesting layout for this bathroom. They don't usually do a layout where you have to walk past your bathroom to get into the bedroom, but I like what it does, because normally you would have to like force a door on side of your bed here, and you don't have to do that. So I actually like thinking about that. I actually like how that operates, and then it forces you to have like a little hallway right here, which I'm a fan of. Really nice shower. Big old tub. Split vanities. They don't give you a make-ready station on this one. I would imagine that at this width you would be able to probably make one over here if you were just forcing it. Got one closet. Now you usually have two. Let me see if that other one is closet. Really good size. Oh, this is a big closet. You may not have another closet. This is big, considering the size of this home. Okay, what we got over here? We got one. All right, this is linen, just linen. Okay. So yeah, I might have to add that to a short list of plans that I really like. Because if I'm using this how we would normally use this, we got an office, we got 4 beds, we got a movie space. This area that we wouldn't use for a formal, our table would be floating right here. We would just have a nice table that could be open concept. I like this. I like this plan a lot. And I don't think that I've seen this one. Usually people are doing like the 3695, I think is the plan that most people kind of like when they're touring with me for a one story around this size. Again, this is a really nice, the upgraded elevation. We didn't talk about that on the walk up. That is an upgraded elevation as well. So you're paying a lot of money for that stucco and the stone and brick and stuff and the awnings and all the stuff that they added on it. But yeah, this is a beautiful home that is well over 100,000 off, and we got room. But again, they've sold houses that they've built because the people that jump on those houses early get some of the best pricing. They go all out, but now we got comps that are high. Someone comes in that can afford that. I ain't picked that. All right, you came in here, I hate how cold a white cabinet looks. I would have to change all this out. So that price just comes down. Or if my wife comes in, 4,000 square feet of wood look tile, that price got to come down, right? So all of these things are why we are in the mid sixes when we started right around 820. Okay, that's why we are here where we are. But this is a great opportunity if this is something that you love, right? In terms of incentives, they're depending on who you go with. If you go with their inside lender, they're offering you some money towards closing costs. Now, one of the things that I can say is, although I love Perry a lot, they got a lot of plans. They usually have a lot of inventory. They're one of the biggest builders in Houston. They have some of the highest cash flow. A lot of their houses, they actually buy, a lot of the land that they get from developers, they buy cash. So they usually have a little bit more flexibility on their deals because they're not financing a lot of this land. They're just buying that cash and then developing the neighborhood, usually. And so you usually have more flexibility, but because they're willing to give you more flexibility on like the price of the home, sometimes they don't really do that much on incentives when it comes to like a forward commitment of paying your interest rate down. They're not gonna also give you $50,000 towards paying down your interest rate to a 4%. They're just not gonna do it. They would be more likely to just give you some more money off the cost of the house to see if that makes sense, or some more money towards closing costs, and then you deal with your interest rate later. They are definitely, for the amount of inventory and things that they have in the metro, I will be honest and say that they are probably on the weaker side of incentives. They usually give the lowest amount, but on a more consistent basis, because they have so many houses that end up being inventory, they usually have some of the biggest price drops. So it is not uncommon to have one that is 80, 90, 100, 150,000 off. I think my record right now is one that was like 100 in Meridiana. It was like 100 and almost 90,000 off in Meridiana for one of their like 70-foot gated sections, okay? So it happens. It's a benefit to you. Having the conversation of, do you do something now? Do you do something in January, which is an important conversation that many of you may be having right now or at the top of the year. My stance, anybody that's talked to me will tell you that I'll give you the same spiel, is that your timing is your timing. I'm not here to coerce or convince you to do anything. When it feels right, when the time is right, the thing that is meant for you will be there. It won't miss you, okay? Having said that though, with the data that I typically get on my side and the feedback that I've been getting, and it's been this way and it's been consistent for years now, is that you'll have that hotter summer, fall, things kind of taper off, and then there's winter time when it's real cold and people feel like we've missed the Thanksgiving. We've been probably not going to get in that Christmas in the house for Christmas. We're creeping into the new year. People kind of go into this lull in that like October to December kind of timeline. And this seems to be, and is historically, some of the best deals that you'll see time in and time out in the whole metro, right? So if you want a deal, they got them right now, okay? In terms of what you'll typically see in the whole metro at large is if you wait until the top of the year, once they kind of balance the books and look at what things are, you typically see some kind of a price adjustment or a reduction on those incentives. So whatever they got going on, you'll typically see things kind of taper in a direction that's not as favorable as doing something in this part of the year, okay? So do with that what you will. No way to try to push you. I'm not trying to push you to do anything. If it's meant for you and it's available, come on through and we'll get you a great deal. We'll make sure that we're looking at all the metros to make sure that you're getting the best numbers and the best deals. All the contracts that I currently have right now, we'll cross-reference all of those just to make sure that you're getting the best incentives. I'll tell you what I'm seeing in the metro right now is you're somewhere between, on a good inventory incentive right now, you're somewhere between that like 8 to 10%. So if this house was 800,000 originally, you're usually seeing somewhere around 80,000 in reduction in price, closing cost, or some kind of a incentive package that they're giving you. Once you get over that, we're in a super deal. So like on this one, we're in a super deal because on average, you're seeing about a 10% drop on many of these inventories that have been sitting for a while. Once you get under that, you're kind of getting to a price point where it doesn't make sense for them because you're getting below the base price of what this house would actually be to build, and they don't want to undercut their builders or the people that have built homes previously. They don't want to give themselves bad comps, and they don't want to give the neighborhood bad appraisal. So if you can get something like this that has closed data around you to justify those prices, and you can get something for over 10% off, I'm telling you, that is a deal. And will it be like that at the first quarter? Who knows? What typically happens is people wake up after the holidays and they're just like, all right, I ain't gonna be in the house for New Year's, but I'm ready to do it now because I wanna beat the summer pricing before stuff goes up. And so you get a little bit of a rush before summer for the people that are trying to get into a neighborhood before schools and all this stuff does what it's gonna do, right? So do with that what you will. This is a great deal. Whenever you can look at numbers and see something that's above that 10%, make a little mental note that's a smoking deal for you right now because of the dozens of contracts that I've done this year that I've gotten really big discounts on. 10% has been like that sweet spot no matter what your price point is. So when you see something above that, mark that as a super deal. But we got more to see. All right. Last but not least, we have a 60-foot 2769 plan, which I think that another thing that I noticed on the 60-footers is with Perry, you start getting cool exteriors. So you start getting L shapes and separated garages. You start getting the cool stuff around the 60s for Perry. And this one is 122,000 off. So let's see if this one is a huge step down. This is a little bit smaller footprint. Let's see if it gives the same vibes because this is about the same square footage as my home in the 50-foot section. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how they use the space and if it feels much bigger, feels about the same as what we got in Meridiana. So off the gate, you have your tandem garage, but separated. On the other side would be a 2-car bay. Got your own bath, so this one isn't as dialed up because of the price point, right? So they're already cutting a little bit of a corner, going a little bit more simple. So remember what we were looking at the other one? Remember the tile we were looking at the other one, right? So at this price point, because they have less competition of people that are building at this square footage, they dialed this one down a little bit, okay? Still getting the 8-foot doors, still getting that, still getting a nice baseboard and stuff that we talked about earlier, but there were some decisions made on this one that weren't made on the last one, so kind of keep that in mind. Still get the wide corridor, still get the really tall coffer ceilings. Good size room. Now with the width, the different width in here, I can definitely feel that this one feels a little bit tighter, but again, not small. This is gonna hit that sweet spot for people that need like that 50-foot plan. This is who this one is gonna basically be for. And as you go down in size on the inventory, we got some shared baths in here, okay? So again, I don't want to say corners cut, but like price, thought, and consideration, because we've stepped down in price point and we've stepped down in amount of available lots and competition over here. They've kind of pared things down on this one. It doesn't look bad, but it definitely is noticeably different from that one that had the upgraded elevation, all the hardware, all the nicer carpet, just things that they picked, okay? Need that storage, mudroom off of your garage door here. It looks like they're using this as overflow storage on an inventory home that's been sitting for a little bit. So this person has their own bath with a mud set shower, which is nice. A little step down. Means they thought about that up front with the foundation pour. But yet again, we've pared down on finishes in here. Not ugly, but just that one that we went to just prior to this one was much prettier, okay? Just from aesthetics. But at this price, is it worth looking at to say, hey, let me call Aaron's Julio. We got a guest bath. I'm a fan of that. So people don't have to come in someone's bedroom to use a bathroom. We got a flex space that could be a media space. I love the verticality of this space. Great size. So it could definitely be a nice size media room, nice size office, whatever you kind of want to use it for. Nice size playroom, nice size homeschooling area. Could be nice for a lot of things. Nice. Not a true two-story vibe, because this is not a two-story, but again, just giving you that verticality that Perry does very well on their one-stories. This feels like a much bigger space. I love how instead of this all being one little open concept, they have your table tucked off in the corner back there with these really big windows. But remember the things I told you on the last house. Remember how that one had like the black framing? This one has that free almond framing that comes with the windows, right? We got all this nickel hardware that's just like standard, okay? Still got some built-in cabinets because they are Perry, or built-in appliances. They are Perry. They're not gonna hit you with a slide-in range. It looks like on this one, they still did give you wraparound cabinetry, so you got more storage in here, even though this is would be considered a smaller kitchen and a smaller pantry. So to have the extra storage throughout here, I think it's a good use of it. But that frames up beautifully. That looks really nice, super pretty. Have you a nice sized little dinner table right there. Go out to the back patio. They have you set up with gas and TV. Decent sized little back patio. Nothing too crazy. You got more than enough room to make a little pergola. Extend this out as much as you need, up to about that tree line. Really nice. Still have your fireplace, framed it up for you right there to where you can have your TV. And then we slide into the primary, and they're doing some beautiful architecture with what they did with the ceilings. I think this is really, really nice. Really big size room. I can feel how big this is and how you would have a nice king size bed, full furniture, and you could still probably have a little bench right here and a full dresser. Really nice size. Gave you the upgraded kind of peekaboo tub shower combo right here. You looking at them, they looking at you. Everybody's all good. Old school, right? So again, so it's the choices that were made on this one. But for being $120,000 off, it wouldn't cost you that much to paint that stuff. It wouldn't cost you that much to replace some of this carpet. It wouldn't cost you that much to do some of these projects on your own, because you have the room and you would actually come out ahead compared to building this thing yourself. So you would have to ask yourself, is the space worth it? Can I make this space work? And so if we go back and we count it, we're right at 2,800 square feet, which is a little bit bigger than our house. But on this one, we got the 4 beds and this flex. That's the same amount of spaces that my house had. Okay, so we had the 4 beds and the flex space. We originally turned that flex space into our movie room, our media area, but we had that loft. So we actually had one more space than this place doesn't have, okay? And then we eventually converted our secondary attic to our official movie room that we are in that thing every day. We in that thing every day. Love it so much. Best decision I ever made, and my boy Julio did that. So this is from someone that is speaking to you that got an inventory home, that got it at an amazing deal. I got it much cheaper than any other of my plan that I've sold in my neighborhood. I know that I have an advantage on my exit based on how I entered it. And to enter into a home as an inventory is always gonna be the best deal, okay? So to recap this one, they're 122 off, around 2,800 square feet, 4 bed, 3.5 bath, 3-car garage, separated. And this is a beautiful house, but you would have to ask yourself, is it worth building and going one more space up so you have like that overflow for a flex or an office? Because this one, I believe, canceled out the office, right? Didn't they skip the office on this one? Because you had the garage. This was a cute little bedroom that you could maybe use as an office, but you would have to do some of the sacrificing and things that we do in our current house, because we are truly down one spot. We reclaimed a bedroom and made it an office, and that's a question that you would have to ask of whether or not it's worth building and spending a little bit more to go to a little bit more of a space. In my opinion, if you're going 60 foot, which puts you into a different size square footage that you can have access to. The sweet spot for a 60 footer is around 3,000 square feet. Anything less than that, and you're probably giving up that extra bedroom, extra flex space, extra office, you're giving it up. And this is a perfect example of that on a 1-story. Now, if this is 2-story, they could probably carve it out in that space to give you everything that you need. But for whatever reason, with these layouts, under 3,000 square feet, 1-story in Houston, it's gonna be rough to get 4-bed, an office, and a media space. It's just really tough, okay? Without it feeling really claustrophobic. And this is just one of the 1,000 plans that they have here that doesn't do it. But at $122,000, if you didn't need that office or you didn't need that 5th space, at $122,000 off, I think you can make this work. And I just wanna impress upon you the importance of looking at inventory, especially if something is not your dream home. That's been my message for the last, I'll say, 5 years, is if this house is not the final house, really, truly look at going inventory, because the benefit of you getting an upgraded home for basically the free ski, because at this point, to build this house ground up, I would imagine that the base price on this one is like around $5. So to basically get this at damn near base price in a more luxury neighborhood in the Houston Metro, close to Pearland, 3 minutes away from the Manville Town Center, a minute away from the Presidio that's on its way. Like the benefit of getting an upgraded home in a great location for damn near base price because you decided to go inventory and take on projects it's the cheat code. Like, it gives you the peace of mind. It gives you that leverage that you have in the event that you need to do something a little bit sooner, right? If we just look at it from a number standpoint, now this is me just getting a little bit nerdy, but one of the reasons why I love inventory is because I bought my house $50,000 cheaper than some of my clients that built a similar size house than me. If we sold at the same time, I have way more wiggle room to get out from under my house than they do, right? They have to have their house at a certain price point to break even, whereas I would have that more wiggle room and flexibility just based off of where I bought it. Then on the back end of that, I was able to squeeze a media space or an extra space into my house for under what it would cost me to build that house. So I came ahead twice, right? So not only do I have a bigger home now for cheaper than they paid, I have a bigger head start on what it would take me to break even to get out of my house. And whenever you're buying a house that's not your final house, you need to be thinking about the next house, the next strategy, right? Enjoy what you have, be appreciative of what you got, but you need to be having a future thought process of, okay, can I see myself here for the next 5 years? Okay, if we get to that 5 to 10 years, are we gonna have enough space? Do we need to, and we need to be thinking like that. If we don't have enough space, okay, what can we do to improve this house? Because it'll be cheaper to renovate your house than buy a new house. So like, what can we do to improve this house? Do we have the room? Yes. Go into an attic? Perfect. No, we don't have the room. We need to be looking at something, right? We need to be modernizing our home and getting it ready to be a showcase. Your goal as a homeowner on an inventory home is to make your house look like a model home. That is your goal, okay? And if you're not doing that, you're gonna look up 5 years from now and try to sell what is now a super dated inventory, basically build a great home because you didn't put any love and character into it, okay? You just dirtied it up a little bit, okay? So that is the video for today, man. Inventory is the way to go. We saw a brand new model that I don't think anybody has shown in Houston, so you are the first people to see that. We saw 2 inventory homes from you guys' favorite builder, one of you guys' favorite builder, Perry Homes, one that was at like 140 to 150K off, and we probably got some more room on that one. And this one, that's 122,000 off, and we got some more room on that one. Just let me know. I'll hit my girl Ty up, and we'll make sure that we got you the best deal. But just like I came here today because Ty And Rachel hit me up and said, hey, I got some deals for Coventry. Come check me out. Same thing, Ty said, hey, I got some deals for Perry. Come check me out. I know about those deals, and I also got that nudge, nudge, wink, wink. We got more room because we have that relationship. We've sold homes together before, right? So that's a benefit that you have with working with me. If you go out to these places like many of y'all do, no shade, no tea, just tell them that Aaron sent you. They'll take care of you. I will say that you'll get a better deal if you hit me up before you go out. That way I can pre-call them, give them a little heads up, kind of pivot them down lower to set their expectations that we come in here for a deal. We're not here to play. But if you want to go out there, fill a place out, get a feel for the builder, get a feel for what they got, get a feel for the amenities, and then hit me up afterwards, that's perfectly fine. I will scratch and scrape for whatever I can get in addition to what they discuss with you there. Try not to talk numbers. What you don't want to do is go in there and be like, yeah, this price is good. Don't say that. Just get the information. Let's have us a meeting, coming together of the minds, and let's get us a strategy together of what to present to them if these are the options that you actually like. Because what I hate to happen is you go in there, you talk numbers, they pivot you to a place, and then they submit that to their supervisor for approval. Their approval is a goal for that number, but we had more room had we had a conversation before we actually start talking numbers. So got a lot of deals going right now. A lot of homes in contract, some with Perry. I got 3 with Perry right now. I got 2 with Coventry right now. Of the other builders here, I got 1 with Beezer right now. I don't have 1 with Pulte, but I got somebody that's touring a Pulte neighborhood this week, right? So using that expertise, using that experience that I have in the metro is a benefit to you to make sure that you don't get taken advantage of and that you get the best pricing, the best incentives, everything, the best that we can get you. That is my goal to get for you, but I can't do that if you don't hit me up. And if you go solo, just make sure that you tell them that Aaron sent you. That way they can hit me up and be like, so-and-so stop by, and I can be like, oh yeah, that's my people, but please hit me up. If you're gonna go somewhere, at least send me a text and be like, hey, this is so-and-so, put your name down, I got you, okay? That way I can take care of you and they don't just call me blind and be like, oh, Mary Sue stopped by, and I've never talked to Mary Sue. I don't know who you are, I can't help you out. But that's the spiel for today. Beautiful homes. We got some that are a little bit more dialed down, some that are super elevated, beautiful new model home that I've never seen, and that might be a top plan for me. I know I say that every time I see a Coventry model home that just kind of wows me, but that might have took the spot from the Briggs, low key. And I think my family that's looking at the Briggs might actually like that one too. So we shall see. But if you like this video and you like this side of town, right now we're in the Manville, Iowa Colony area on the south side of town. If you like this side of town, then I absolutely know that you are going to love this video right here.